Hey there, I'm professional psychic and astrologer Karen Marie, and this is my weekly video where I talk about the transits for the upcoming week, review a little bit about last week's, and this week at the end, I'm going to do a general tarot reading for everyone. So put in those questions that you would like to have answered, have them in your mind, and let's see if I don't answer them in the general reading that I do at the end. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen here, and I have pulled up a chart for today. I'm recording this on Sunday, February 1st, the first day of February. I've already gone through a whole month. And the chart that I pulled up was the exact time of the full moon that we had today, which was 4:09 p.m. And I have this pulled up in Austin, Texas. Not that it matters, but it shows where all the planets are in the skies. The moon was at 13 degrees and 4 minutes of Leo, which means the sun was across the skies at 13 degrees and 4 minutes of Aquarius. Now, just to review a little of the important things that happened this last week, we had Neptune move into Aries last Monday. This is very, very, very important because 0 degrees of Aries is the first sign of it's the first sign in the first degree of the entire zodiac, and this is on the world axis. Neptune takes about 165 years to get around the zodiac, so we won't see Neptune transit all the signs in our lifetime, but it will be spending about 13 years moving through Aries. So this was big news, this shift. We also had a Mars conjunct Pluto, and we had Mercury and Venus conjunct. We have this huge stellium in Aries, and I'll talk about that for this week as well because they're continuing to be in Aries and Aquarius this week. So, and of course, we had the full moon today, which is a powerful, powerful, powerful start to the new month. It kind of signals what this month is going to be like, and there are um, an upcoming eclipse on February 17th. We'll have an eclipse at 28 degrees of Aquarius, and then we'll have the exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune. Saturn will move into Aries on the 13th, and then they'll both be exactly conjunct on the 20th. So the 17th is when the eclipse is, and then the 20th is when this major, powerful new beginning is with Saturn and Neptune. But let's look at today and this Leo moon. And Leo rules the fifth house in the zodiac wheel. This is the house of creativity and creative expression. It's the house of children, our own inner child, and any children in our lives. It's the house of romance. So Leo is the sign that loves the stage the most. And so with this moon over here all by itself in Leo, it had quite the audience here to perform for over here in Aquarius. I'm going to make my screen a little bigger here so we can dig more into what's going on with these planets in Aquarius. So to get a closer look, right now today we have Pluto at 3 degrees and 44 minutes of Aquarius. Estrella is at 3 degrees and 55, so these are close. So Estrella was on this planet when it was more gassy, and she was more like sprite-like, and the energy was very light. And when things started getting more dense and toxic, she was like, I'm out of here. She actually became a constellation. She became the constellation of Virgo, is what the story is. So with Pluto getting closer and closer to this asteroid of Estrella, it's Pluto brings, anytime it interacts with something, it transforms that energy. And so all the personal planets have had a recent conjunction with Pluto. The personal planets being the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. They've all crossed over Pluto recently. So they've all had this like it's kind of like if the Fab Five got a hold of you, like they've all been like renovated and transformed and empowered. They've all had conjunctions with the sun, except for Mars. Mars will be moving into a conjunction with the sun soon. So they're all really super transformed. Now, you can look at the personal planets as people showing up in your life. Aquarius rules the 11th house in the zodiac wheel, and this is the house of our networks, our groups, our social circles, our tribe. So there could be lots of people showing up in any group that you're connecting with, even if you're connecting with people on the internet, in your whatever groups you may be connecting with. There may have been a lot of activity. This is like a noisy group here with all the, like, the moon over here is wanting attention, but these guys can be a noisy crowd. They may not have been paying much attention to the moon. So Mars is over here. It's still conjunct Pluto, so we still got this warrior energy transformation, like people just really like set in motion, like really ready to take action. Mars represents how we take action and put energy into things. And so in Aquarius, it's like power to the people is what all these are saying. Like we're all united. We're trying to all get our stuff together and show up cohesively. And I do think it's interesting that right now we're having groups, large groups of people showing up and protesting all over this country. And this is really reflective of that energy. All different kinds of people all showing up to protest. Pluto can be about protesting too. This is Vesta. Vesta, in my opinion, represents when we've sacrificed ourselves for other people. And she's here also she's willing to sacrifice herself for the whole. And we certainly have had some sacrifices, some people being sacrificed for the common good. I would say the killings of Renee Good um, and others, even people who have been, killed in the hands of ICE. Like this is what is revving people up. The sacrifices that people have had of their lives is really what's getting to people. It's one thing to be mistreated, quite another thing to kill people. We've got the sun here in Aquarius, shining the light on the new, the innovative, the different, the outside of the box. That's what Aquarius is. It's a fixed air sign, and the air signs are all about communication. So again, that's why there's a lot of chatter going on, a lot of talking going on, social media stuff, and Mercury's here, so a lot of chatter in your own head probably as well. Venus is here, and so there's just this swelling groundswell of this energy of all these planets in close proximity to each other, again all having been transformed by Pluto and magnified by the sun. And Chariklo is what this asteroid is. It's conjunct Mercury right now. And Chariklo was the wife of Chiron. She was said to have healed people with her presence. So that's an energy that's also in this collective right now. And so you might have representatives of Venus or of, Venus is someone who's um, the actors, the singers, people are doing creative arts as their work. Mercury, the writers, the orators, the public speakers, the podcasters, could be Mercury. So all this energy is like intensive and all just vibing off of each other right now. The north and south nodes are at 9 degrees of Pisces. The north node is now in the last decan. The nodes move backwards. They actually move clockwise while all the rest of the planets move counterclockwise. The north node points to what we're all supposed to be learning right now. And in Pisces, it's the lesson of the duality of the two fish. One fish is caught up in illusion, delusion, addiction, fuzzy thinking, wanting to check out. The other fish is tuned in, it's psychic, it's spiritual, it's connected to all that is. It wants to be evolved, it wants to be enlightened. So the North Node moving through Pisces has had a call for all of us to take a look at our addictive personalities, the part of us that wants to check out, and the part of us that wants to tune in, that's heightening our own intuition, that's wanting to grow spiritually and wanting to have a stronger connection to our own higher self and to the infinite. The South Node is where we're releasing and letting things go. And in Virgo, it's a lot about letting go of overthinking because Mercury rules Virgo, letting go of perfectionism. So that's just I'm not going to spend too much time on those, but they're going to be more prominent this summer. In July, they change signs. So in July, they'll move, and the North Node will be in Aquarius, and then the South Node will be moving into Leo. So I'll talk more about that as it gets closer to it. Saturn is wrapping up its 30-year cycle around the entire zodiac. Right now, today, it's at 28 degrees and 44 minutes of Pisces. So this Saturn is where we put in our boundaries, we put in structure. Again, moving through Pisces, there may need to have been putting boundaries around addictive tendencies, boundaries around spiritual practices. Like to setting up, like I want to meditate every day, I want to chant every day, I want to pray every day, those kind of things. And like I said, it will be ending its cycle in Pisces and moving into Aries on February 13th. So we don't have much more time to finish things up, to close things up. And then moving into Aries, again, we have Neptune there. Ceres is a nurturing mother goose hook. This is about self-care in Aries, because Aries is about the sense of self. It's about your vitality. It's about your energy level. And we have Chiron here and Eris, and they're getting closer and closer to each other. And Eris is about standing up for rights and protesting. Chiron is about the wounded healer. It's how we can look at our own wounding and have the key is that we heal ourselves, and then the wounded places within become a place of great strength. So and there's some empowerment and strengthening with Chiron conjuncting Eris here. There's like that you can heal yourself by standing up. It's like if you've been abused, then you can stand up for your rights or someone else's rights that's also been abused. That kind of thing is the energy here going on with Chiron. Uranus is a big player this week. It's retrograde right now, 27 degrees and 28 minutes. Today, it's going to go back one more minute to 27 degrees and 27 minutes. And on Tuesday, it stations direct. So anytime a planet is stationing direct or retrograde, it slows down in the skies and becomes amplified. The energy of that planet is revved up. Now, when I go through the daily and talk about the specific aspects when they're exact, we can feel aspects before they're exact, we can feel them afterwards. So just because something's at a certain time or a certain day doesn't mean we won't be already feeling that influence before or after. So right now we've been feeling for a while the influence of Uranus. Uranus is the great awakener. It wants to wake us up. And it throws sudden, shocking, unexpected curveballs. It's the ruler of Aquarius, since we have so many planets over here and asteroids in Aquarius. This magnifies the energy of Uranus all by itself, just by having this stellium of planets here. It sets that in motion. And we're also going to be having some squares to Uranus, which are contentious. And I'll talk about that on the daily too. But right now, Uranus is, 1 degree off of Algol. Algol is a fixed star, so it doesn't move very much. You may have had it at 27 degrees on your chart, but it sticks around here in this area of the chart always. And Algol is associated with Medusa's head. Remember, she could turn people into stone just by looking at them. It is also associated when any planet contacts it that it is associated with leaders losing their heads, metaphorically, like they could lose their minds, or literally in past histories. And that's leaders of all kinds, but leaders of the world in particular. So we've got Uranus revving up to turn around in the sky. So it's shaking up this energy. So it'll be interesting to see if there are any major leaders that lose their mind or when President Trump had the assassination attempt last year, Mars and Uranus were both conjunct Algol. that was just an example of where, Mars, the god of war, and Uranus, sudden unexpected things connected with algal. So I'm not predicting that that's going to happen. It could happen any place on the planet because, of course, this is affecting everyone on the planet, not just our country. But it will be revving up that energy. And it's in Taurus, and Taurus rules the earth itself. So there could be major earthquakes or volcanic eruptions or major storms. Anything that's natural connected to the earth could be, shaken, because Uranus can literally be shaking the earth or throwing lightning bolts or throwing tsunamis or storms or tornadoes, kind of thing. And Taurus is also what rules finances. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and she rules our financial markets. So there could be something volatile that happens this week with the financial market because Uranus is stationing. It'd be curious to see. Again, astrology is not predictive any more than a weather forecast can tell you exactly when something's going to happen. But it is interesting that Uranus will be stationing direct this week, and it is so close to algal. Jupiter is also retrograde here at 17 degrees of Cancer. This could be stirring up things from our childhood. Cancer represents our primal emotions, our mother, our childhood emotional framework, our emotions today. Cancer is definitely a very emotional sign, and it's also rules healing, nurturing our home today, our childhood home. So there could be big things getting stirred up and brought to the surface with Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter is the great benefic, so it usually brings things up in a beautiful way, like I needed to see that, and it can be a beautiful release of old repressed energy, but it can make things bigger and intensive. So there's that. Those are the major things that I want to point out about right now. So I will talk about the upcoming week. Tomorrow, on Monday, we have Mercury at 23 degrees of Aquarius will be in a sextile with Chiron. Now, a sextile is a positive connection, but it does require some sort of action. So Mercury, again, is our thinking or our communication. So there could be conversations around healing. This could be with a therapist or with a friend or with a healer, where you get some really important information. Of course, you have to take some action. You need to have that conversation. You had to set up that appointment and go see the therapist, talk to a friend, write things down even. You could get some channeled information writing in your journal with this sextile of important things that you need to see, think about when it comes to the wounded healer within. At 9:21 p.m., the moon that's been moving through Leo will move into Virgo. And Virgo rules the sixth house in the astrological wheel, and this is the house of our daily life, our daily group, what we do every day. It's also service to others. It's our work that we do every day. It's our health, because we tend our health every day. It's our pets, because we tend them every day. So Virgo can be an attention to detail. It's great to get things organized, get things checked off the to-do list, help somebody else out. Like, you can be very productive under a Virgo moon. Virgo is ruled, it's an earth sign, so you can dig in and really get things done. So if you've been like procrastinating, maybe after Monday night, and then the moon will be moving through Virgo on Tuesday and Wednesday. So those are great days to set aside to clean out that closet or that garage or that drawer, or get those things organized, go through that stack of papers on your desk. That's a great time to do it. On Tuesday, that's when Uranus stations direct. That happens, the exact time is 8:33 p.m. That's Austin, Texas time. So that's when it'll be exactly shifting directions, turning around in the sky. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any major, surprising, shocking events that happen with this turnaround in the skies of Uranus. And then on Wednesday, we'll have Venus sextile Chiron. So Venus will be at 23 degrees on Wednesday the 4th. And then Venus is having a sextile with Chiron. And again, a sextile is positive, but does require some sort of action. Venus represents love, how we love ourselves. It's our relationships. It's the women in our life. It's beauty and the arts. It's money and finance. So there's some reconciling these aspects with this woundedness that we may feel. And again, we can have some positive, maybe we have a positive connection of have feel some love coming in a place that maybe we were wounded. There can be all kinds of different ways that this shows up, but again, it's a positive aspect with Chiron on Wednesday. We also have the moon making a trine to Uranus that day. The moon will be here in Virgo, trining Uranus. So there could be some shocking intuitive messages. The moon represents our intuition and our inner emotional realm. Then on Thursday, in the early mornings, 3:32 a.m., the moon will move into Libra. Libra is the scales of justice. So our attention can be on justice and fairness in our own lives, out in the world. Venus is the ruler of Libra, so our attention can be on relationships as well as the moon moves through Libra. The moon will make an opposition to Neptune at 4:02 a.m. early Thursday morning, so that may show up in the dreams. You might have a dream about a lover or a beautiful creative idea. When Venus and Neptune connect, it's like a beautiful illusion, as one of the code words for that. And then also on Thursday at 6:13 a.m., Mercury over here in Aquarius, it'll be at 27 degrees at that point, will make a square to Uranus. So this can be shocking, unexpected messages. Mercury is the messenger that rules our thinking. It rules social media and the news. So there can be some shocking news that day. You could get some shocking information through your conversations with others as well. Even some shocking downloads directly. There usually is some sort of action that is required with a square as well. Even if you need to write out and process what you just heard about. The moon will make a trine to Pluto also that morning. So this can be some transformative ideas, intuitive hits that you get with the trine. Trine is a beautiful energy. So it's power and control and death and transformation. But with a trine to the moon in Libra, there should be some important information that you might need about transforming some of your relationships. Or maybe there's a relationship that just transforms on its own. And again, this could involve money because Venus, the ruler of Libra, rules our finances as well. On Friday, the moon will make a square to Jupiter, which is one of the easiest squares. And again, could bring in some intuitive information about our childhood, some memories, some connections with mom. Again, some action may be required. Maybe it's you get the hit to reach out to your mother. If your mother's on the other side, maybe you get a spiritual connection with her. We also have the moon trining the sun on Friday, and Mercury moves into Pisces. So this stellium, this gang in Aquarius, will begin one at a time to move into Pisces. A big shift in energies when Mercury moves into Pisces. That is exact at 4:48 p.m. Friday, February 6th. That's when it's exact. And then the moon that evening, just before midnight, will be opposite Chiron. So again, more intuitive hits. We get lots of information from Chiron this week. It's a great week to dive into healing something, to get information about what you need for your healing, to get some confirmation if you already have healed something that your work has been done. The wound has healed. On Saturday at 1:13 p.m., the moon moves into the deep, dark waters of Scorpio. This can have us diving deeply within our own psyche as the moon moves through Scorpio. It'll be there through the rest of the weekend. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. So when the moon moves into Scorpio, it's about inner transformation and growth. Very, very powerful. On Sunday at 3:48 a.m., Venus, which will then be at 27 degrees of Aquarius, will be squaring Uranus. And so this can be some shocks and surprises when it comes to relationships, also money and finances. Again, someone in the arts, we could get some interesting messages about someone who's tied up with Hollywood, for example. And it could be personal. And begin again, because these squares are with Uranus, which is still super powerful and hadn't moved very far in the skies. It'll just have moved 1 minute. It'll be at 27 degrees and 28 minutes, the exact degree it's at today, when Venus squares Uranus. So shocks and surprising messages can be the theme for the week. Healing, focused on healing, is another thing I see for this week. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to move to doing a general tarot reading. So I use the Osho Zen Tarot deck, which is a non-traditional tarot deck, and I'm a channel, so a lot of the information will just be coming through. I will show you the cards. I put a lot of cards out. If I was doing a private reading for you, I would start with looking at your birth chart and what I see jumping out about your chart that's important, and then how these current transits may be affecting you. And then I would move to a general reading with the tarot cards. So I'll just set the intention for those of you that are watching, that you hear something you need to hear, and that this is for your highest good, and what you need to know, what you need to see. Hopefully this will be something that will be encouraging and positive and uplifting. Or sometimes there's a warning. I'll just see what the theme is for this general reading for this week. This will be the reading for this week. All righty. My ring's trying to fall off. All right. Interestingly enough, the first card, which represents the overall situation, is the awareness card. And this is when you have that aha realization. Oh, okay, I see. So a lot of things being revealed this week. Uranus bringing shocks and surprises that can be revealing things. But this is when you see it yourself. It's like, oh, okay, I see. I get it. Maybe things were fuzzy. Maybe this could pertain to a relationship where you're not seeing things clearly, or something about your own self. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I see. So having an aha realization is a powerful card. The first card representing you is the going with the flow card. And this is about breathing deeply and being in this moment, right? You're not caught up in what's happened or what may happen, but you're like, okay, what do I need to do right now? This is like having a flow going in your life. And I always think, and I'll put more of the cards out as I'm talking about this, that when you're in rhythm in your life, there is a flow, there is an ease. And when you're out of sync in some way, that's when you hit the potholes, the brick walls, the red lights. So, I mean, we can be completely on track and hit some difficult things as well, but there is just an ease to life and a flow when you're listening to your intuition and you're acting how you feel guided to act. You know, if you're going at cross purposes with yourself, that's when it can just feel really janky. So the flow card says, okay, I'm in a rhythm, I'm in a flow. This card could also literally mean get yourself in some water, soak in the tub, do a cold plunge, get by the ocean if you can do that. Drink more water is another thing that card can signify. All right, let me finish putting out all my cards, and then I will talk about all of them. And speaking of water, knocking things over. Okay, so the card that represents the bridge that's crossing, which is right now in time, is the suppression card. So that means that somebody out here watching this is dealing with some suppressed emotions. This could show up as depression. It could just show up as anxiety. It could show up as the world feeling like it's bearing down on you. Um, this is definitely hard to move through this, but keep in mind that if you're going through a difficult time, that this too shall pass. But it does feel intensive. Um, and I know a lot, and this person is also tied up with rope. And so this could also be people that are caught up in the system in some way. It could be the people that are being deported are caught up, and there's just a collective angst for that all that these people are going through that are getting caught up with our government and who are putting them in horrible places and treating them horribly. Like there's like if you're an empath, you may be having a difficult time right now just because this may not even be you. This may be you just picking up on the suffering of other people right now. So it feels intensive, and it doesn't seem to be an end in sight of that for right now. So it's very oppressive. So it's important to keep your energy as clear as possible and notice if you're taking in, like if you're an empath like me, you can be like a sponge and just be taking it in. So it's really important that you wring yourself out. Breath work, chanting, prayer, walk in the woods, soaking in the tub, putting on your essential oils to like really clear your energy, because you can't be helpful to the collective if you're also caught up, right? So the most important thing we can be doing right now is trying to raise our vibration, to be putting out the highest energy that we can possibly. That's what we can do when we feel overwhelmed, and like there's so many things I can't affect a change, but you can bring out your energy, and we're all connected. So if you raise your own life condition, and spiritual practices is what does that, then you're sending out a more positive, more loving vibe to the planet, and that's super important right now. So these two cards represent the conscious focus, which would be what is on your mind, right? So we've got the ordinariness card, which for some of you means things are good. Like I got everything I need. This can also be a call to get outside in nature and just, have some peace. This person has gathered up some flowers or fruit or vegetables or something. It could be people that are gardening, getting out there. Like if you're around here, it's been too cold to really kind of be working outside. This week looks like it's going to be a prettier weather week here in Austin. So maybe you can get outside and do some gardening, move all the plants that are inside outside. But it's also just being able to have gratitude for the simple things, like that you have the things that you need. You have clothes on your back, you have food to eat, you have a peaceful environment around you mostly. This card, the outsider card, symbolizes when you tell yourself you can't. You can see what you want, but you just can't get there. Except if you look at this card closely, do you see that lock? It's not fastened. So this card symbolizes that you actually can, and you're telling yourself you can't. So what ways in your life are you blocking yourself by saying, I can't, I'm too old, or I don't have enough education, or it's only me? It's like this is about getting clear about what your vision is, and then just taking one step at a time. You start with taking the lock off, and then you take the chain off, and then you throw the gate open, and then you step through. So this is a positive sign in that you really can, is what this says. But it's coming up in your conscious focus. So somebody is telling themselves they can't do something. And the truth is, you can. You can make a difference. Underneath this scene. So this position I'm about to show you is kind of like the lava that hasn't come up out of the volcano yet. It's like fundamental energy that's underneath this thing that you may not be conscious about. It could be the unconscious or the subconscious, but I usually see it's something that gets out pictured later. Two different energies here. I've got the success card and the schizophrenia card. The schizophrenia card is when you feel divided down the middle. Usually this card comes up in readings when there's a choice that needs to be made. You need to leave a relationship, you need to leave a job, you need to move somewhere. There's a big separation, a shift or a change that's happening. Since it's underneath the scene, this shift is not happening right yet, but it will be in the future. There's some big shift that's happening, some big decision that needs to be made. And so when you're feeling torn down the middle, feel it out. Don't try to figure it out. like, and trust that gut feeling. When something is right for you, there's an openness towards it. Like, okay, you can relax and it just feel an openness or expandedness. When something's not right, there's a clenchedness, a gut feeling like, like, you know, it can be like a fear response. So just see if you can subtly tap into whether something feels like it's what it's for you or what's not. And this is a classic situation where people do reach out to me for readings because they want to look, say they're trying to decide if they're going to move to Dallas or they're going to move to Houston. And then we look at it. Let's look and see what it looks like if you were to move to Dallas. And then we'll throw the cards. Let's look at what it would look like if you moved to Houston. We can just look at the different choices and look at pros and cons, right? That's just an example. What would it look like if I left the relationship? What would it look like if I stayed? Those kind of things. Classic things that people want readings around. The success card is very exciting. It is good news. This tiger is walking on the earth, so this card can often indicate global travel or connecting with someone from somewhere else on the planet. It's a celebration. There is good news coming. So whatever this shift or change that's coming that requires a decision to be made, there is success heading in the right direction. This is positive. And it's like hope for the whole world as well. Okay, recent past. This can also include distant past. It can include past lives, but it's coming up recently. So we've got the sorrow card. And so this is someone who's gone through a loss of some sort, whether it's recent loss or it's in the past and you just still haven't gotten over it, right? There's some sorrow, some grief, some isolation happening because you want to just be alone, or that's the feeling I get. And then there's the projection card. The projection card comes up when someone is projecting onto you their unresolved stuff. This is where an abusive relationship will often come in. So there could be sadness around a relationship of someone you really love that's just not treating you well. And again, this is in the past, so this could already be over, or it could be something that's just recently happened. You're still in it, depending on who you are. But it's classic for someone who has not worked through their own issues to project their unresolved stuff on the people closest to them and then call them out for the very things that they're doing. Like if you're ever in a position where you're like defending yourself, I didn't say that. I didn't do like that's usually someone who's projecting their stuff onto you. They're not seeing you clearly. These people cannot clearly see each other, right? So it's miscommunication at the very least, and not being able to listen. Some people can't take in and really hold space for someone who's sharing. They're thinking about what they want to say in return, or they're gaslighting. So this situation is sad. It is, sorrowful to be in that kind of situation when you're not being respected, you're not being listened to, you're not being cherished for who you are and how you see things. And even if it's different, like, oh, okay, I see how we want to be heard. So this is definitely a situation with somebody out there where you have not been heard, you've not been validated, and it's like really, it feels really sad. Okay, near future, there's two really different energies. I'm going to put them up separately. This is the existence card. This is about meditation, right? This is about realizing that we're all just a little small speck in the grandiose of the universe. This is about plugging into the great divine. It's about a call to meditation, to just realize that we are human beings, not human doings, that our souls are we're made of the stars, right? When we put our physical bodies down, when this clay suit, we're finished with it, we continue on as an energy force. So if we go ahead and learn how to connect with our higher self, that is that energy force now, the source of the universe, this is like where people can like levitate when they're meditating. It's just like getting so much out of a spiritual practice. And that could be any spiritual practice, but it is a call to spiritual practices. It is like, be still and find the divine within you and connect with the divine in the universe is what this card is about, near future. This card is a completely different story. This is the morality card. And this card comes up a lot in readings for people who have been sexually abused or sexually assaulted. Um, and since with the Epstein files are coming out, this could be dealing with something about that, that this is coming out, that it's being more and more exposed about women who've been sexually assaulted or abused. But when I've been doing readings for 38 years professionally, and a few years into doing readings, I noticed there were so many of the clients that were coming to me that had been sexually abused as children, and or women that had been assaulted as adults as well. But I was shocked at how many people had suffered sexual abuse as a child, and usually from someone they knew inside their own home. And and I was like, okay, is this because I'm a healer and I'm just drawing in wounded people, or is this because we have an epidemic in our society? And I feel like it's probably a little of both, but I do feel like we have an epidemic in our society of people who have taken advantage of children or underage people. And I think there's more that's going to be addressed about this, and that more of about that that's coming to the light. That could also be these Chiron um, transits that are coming up. Um, and the fact that the existence card is coming up with this is like, reconciling the healing comes from the divine, right? But yeah, to me, it's like, and a lot of times people block out that and don't even remember or recall that they were abused. Other times, I know a lot of people are getting stirred up with the Epstein stuff coming out and people talking about this because it is stirring up their own memories of assaults, abuse. So if that's you, then I just send you love and prayers, um, and that you can turn poison to medicine, that this can be a situation that in turn empowers you and maybe calls you to advocacy for others. Okay, so the first card representing you was the Going with the Flow card. I'll show that to you again, right? This is just about being in this moment and allowing a flow. And then there's two other cards that are representing you. We got the Isolation card. So this is also someone who has got feelings that are frozen. The Isolation card can be like when you just need to get away from everybody and you need to isolate yourself so that you can have a space where you can feel your feelings. It can also be people who are alone and are feeling lonely and are sad about the fact that they don't have people in their lives. It can also just be people with, you could feel alone when you're in a room full of people or with a partner. Like you could have everything you need and still feel frozen. This is like old, stuck, frozen emotions. So there's a need to feel your feelings, and just whether that's just through breath work and scan your body and where are the feelings stuck in your body, and then breathing into that part of your body, or laying on a healer's table, getting a massage, getting some acupuncture, getting some Reiki. Um, yeah, there's a need to love yourself and put some positive energy if that's you. Then there is also the Inner Voice card. This is about tapping into your own strong intuition, and everyone is psychic. We all have intuition. It shows up differently for everyone, but when we listen to our intuition and follow its guidance, that's when we're on the right path for our lives. Our intuition is our internal GPS system. So this is about strong psychic messages coming through. There's a whole another head coming out of the third eye here. This could be messages coming from your spirit guides, from dreams. And there's also these two dolphins. This card comes up a lot in readings when there's a psychic connection between two people. Even if they're not physically talking or connecting, you can still feel each other psychically. There's and even if that person has crossed over again, you could still have a very strong psychic connection, so you can feel them when they're around. But this usually shows up in connection with picking up on somebody else. There's that, dolphins, that evolved species that they are. There's also this crystal here. There's a meditation. There's the water here. So it also could indicate, especially with the dolphins, about listening to, maybe you're feeling called to the ocean. You can trust that if someone keeps coming up on your radar, you keep feeling their energy. And that's different from obsessing about someone, like thinking, and you're in control of that. An intuitive connection with someone is like you're busy doing your whatever, and then they just come across your radar, as I call it, right? So there's a strong psychic connection with someone else is what's going on here in this card. Now, the environment, these next cards represent not you, someone outside of you. It's other people, other situations outside of you. And I've got the trust card and the playfulness card. I'll do these one at a time. So the trust card is people in your life that you can trust, or someone who's putting their trust in you. They're taking a leap of faith. They're saying, all right, I believe you. I'm going to go with it. And this is also like other people that you can trust. You can feel it. Like if you drop open around someone, you can just feel, oh, that's a trustworthy person. If everything within you kind of closes up, like probably not. Probably you can't trust them. And then this card, the playfulness card, this is about like getting out and having joy. This could be someone in your life that brings you joy, that makes you laugh, that drags you out to go to see the comedy or go dancing or lifts your spirits. So this is a beautiful energy of someone who, is, like I said, I think comedians are healers, right? Because they can help us look at a situation and find the humor in things that, because like, especially if you're in one of these situations when you're feeling like this is welcomed. So, and I'll go and watch, like Amy Poehler's podcast. She's always interviewing other comics. It's always great fun. Or I'll just start scrolling and watch comedians. Like I'll sometimes look for someone who's going to make me laugh. Like I need a break from this doom and gloom that we're kind of facing in our society, and let me do something that brings levity, that brings lightness. And so this is a really beautiful energy. It could be a child that brings your attention and brings you joy, but it's someone outside of you that can lift your spirits and bring you joy, and that you can trust, and they trust you. Okay, this is hopes and fears. So we got the moment to moment card. This is just about gathering. It's kind of like the going with the flow card. Just like, what today do I feel guided to do? What this moment do I feel guided to do? And it's just trusting that you'll be guided moment by moment. Like, I'm going to hope that I'm guided every step in the way. Like, I don't know where things are going. And all we need to do is get guidance for this one day. We don't need to get guidance for next week, next month, next year. Right now it's where we need the guidance. And when we're following our guidance, it was like following the breadcrumbs, right? We'll be on the right track. It's a great adventure. We can trust ourselves, trust our intuition, and trust the way we're being guided today. Whatever that guidance is, follow it. So this is about just taking that next right step. The control card is probably the fear, fearing that someone else is going to have control over us, or we're in a situation that will be out of control. It could be something that you're wrestling with within yourself. You're afraid you're going to lose control, or somebody else is going to have control over you. With Pluto being so prominent right now, like all the personal planets interacting, this has been like personal interactions with power and control. What's going on in our government right now? These are power and control issues showing themselves, so there's a lot of fear going on. Fear also is like whatever you're worried about, whatever you're afraid about, you're actually saying a prayer for that to be the truth. So catch yourself in a state of anxiety, worry, fear, and then replace whatever the fear is with how you want things to be. I want there to be peace on earth. I want everyone to be treated with respect and dignity, and just put that vision out there, because if you keep feeding into the fear, it'll actually grow the very thing you're afraid of, whether that's out in the world or in your own personal life. Okay, so these next cards I put out are the outcome. And I always put out a number of cards because it's always a continuing journey. We're never done. There's always like a continuing story. So the first card to continue the theme of fear is the Miser. And the Miser card is representative of fear, particularly fear on money and finances. Like, I don't have enough. Ugh. And when we're in a state of fear, we contract, we hold on to what we've got, right? We hold our breath even, and draws the energy inward and nuts it down. our environment is a reflection of ourselves. So when we're in fear, we're in a contracted state, and then the universe contracts away from us. The antidote is to drop open, much like this awareness, the overall situation card is, where we're like, oh, like, I know I'm made of source energy, and source energy can come back at me, right? So it's like tapping into the light here in this picture, and not like this person that's holding onto their baubles, right? So but this card coming up could mean there's some financial stuff going on. I mean, prices are going up everywhere. Like, there's all kinds of things to be afraid of. But again, if you're giving in and thinking a lot and feeling a lot about the fear, you're actually helping to create the very thing that you don't want. So it's important to drop open. I'm abundantly blessed. I have everything I need. The universe is taking care of me. These are great, like, words to say when you're up against a fearful situation, is to, like, okay, drop open. It's counterintuitive, but to drop open can really shift the energy, and then it can free up things to just come in. I've got the ripeness card, which is about things coming. It does have the new moon here in this picture, and our next new moon is a solar eclipse. So we're in this eclipse season, powerful things. But this is about timing, and this is like, timing's right. Okay, it's time to go. Let's go. You can pick that fruit now. You're not just planting seeds, you're picking the fruit. So there's something positive, and it's time for something to come. Right next to it is the healing card. So it may be time to, like, again, put yourself on the table. This is psychological healing. It's physical healing. It's their divine hands on this person. It could also mean, again, that someone who's channeling divine, again, a healer that you can trust, whether that's a medical doctor or an intuitive healer. This is about, and it could just be, you healing your own mind, you healing your own body by just allowing healing energy to come in, because the divine is the ultimate in healing. I think everybody's heard stories of miracles that have happened, right? That there's something bigger than us that can help us heal. And so this is a beautiful energy of, like, feeling like, okay, I'm shifting that. I'm healing that. That used to be a big thing for me. Now I'm healing it. And then the completion card is coming with that. This is when you, like, okay, I get it now. The whole story, the whole picture comes into play. Like, all right, that's what I needed to see. This could be ending something, right? Ending a relationship, ending a project, completing a creative project. It's like, enough of that. There's something that's coming to a close, coming to an end this week. So that's what I have for the general reading. That would be typical of what I would be doing in a private session as well. So hopefully you took something from this reading, and I hope you have a great week. I am still offering my readings at half off right now up until the eclipse. This lunation cycle, I've been offering half off my normal rates for all my services. So an hour reading is generally $300, so that's $150 for our session. That would include your astrology and your tarot. I also do past life regressions. I did one this week. Those are a lot of fun. Those are usually $400. They're only $200. I do rebirthing sessions, psychic development instructions. So if you're interested in connecting with me, make sure you I'll put my email and my website in the comments below, so that you can dive in to check out more of my services and what I have to offer. On my website, I do post my daily psyched updates that I post every day, which is about 1 to 2 minute blurb about the daily transits, and then this weekly transit that I record and post on Sundays. So much love, be well, take care of yourself this week. Peace.